Hi guys, welcome back from fall break. I hope that you're excited to be back. You guys have had a long weekend and I hope you had a good time. And that this bell work was able to bring you back into the reality of Algebra Foundations. Again, I'm sorry that I can't be there with you today. I am on what I hope is the sunny beaches of Florida and enjoying a vacation, but I will be back next week. So you are going to have videos and a sub this week. Anyways, so let's get started and let's go over bell work. The first question says, write an equation in slope-intercept form with the slope of 4 and the y-intercept of -6. We have worked with slope-intercept form enough, so I didn't think that that was too much of a challenge for you guys. You guys should know how to do that. So y equals mx plus b is what we're working with. And so y equals, they gave us the slope of 4, so 4x minus 6. So y equals a slope of 4x minus 6. The next one where it says graph, right there you can see it's already in slope-intercept form. So you could tell us that the slope is 4/7, and you could tell us that your b is your -6. So go to -6, that's where you're going to start your graph. And then you're going to go up 4 and over 7. So right 4 and left, or sorry, up 4 and right 7. That didn't stay. I wonder why that is. And then you're going to also, you could go down 4 and over 7, and then draw your line. Your line is rising because your slope is positive, and so that is stuff that you should know that we've talked about before. So hopefully your line looks like that. Number 3 says, write the equation of a line that passes through the point 6, 9, and 8, 10. Put your final answer in slope-intercept form. So you can't jump right into slope-intercept form. It's going to take you a little bit of time. So let's talk about what we need first. We have 2 points. So hopefully you recognize what you're missing, which would be your slope. So let's find slope first. M is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So you have a 1/2 as your slope. If your slope is 1/2, you can take either point, it doesn't matter which one you take, and plug it into point slope form. You can't plug it into slope-intercept because you don't have an intercept. An intercept would need to be 0, something, and you don't have that. So let's pick the point 8, 10. So y minus 10 is equal to 1/2, and then x minus 8. Y minus 10 is equal to 1/2 x minus, you have to do 8 over 1 times 1 over 2. That would be 8. Looks like a 7. 8 over 2. 8 divided by 2 is going to be 4. So minus 4. And then add your 10. Y is equal to 1/2 x plus 6. Y equals 1/2 x plus 6. Okay, number 4 should have gone quickly for you guys. We've talked about slope before. So perpendicular slope needs to be 2 things. It needs to be opposite and reciprocal. So positive 2/5. Opposite reciprocal, -1/2. And opposite reciprocal, -5. I am really interested to know if anybody got our challenge question. It is something that we actually have talked about before. When we talk about a slope of 0, right there, slope of 0 hopefully clicks in your brain. It was something you're supposed to have memorized. A slope of 0 is a horizontal line. So what would be perpendicular to a horizontal line? Vertical. What's the slope of a vertical line? And hopefully you know that that is undefined. Undefined. So that's why it was the challenge. There wasn't a numerical answer. It was a word. All right. Solve and graph. When you look at this, I hope that you see that it's an and inequality. Your goal is to get that x by itself in the middle. That's what makes it an and inequality. So subtract 2 from all the parts. 6 is less than 6x is less than or equal to 12. You're going to divide by 6. And so 1 is less than x is less than or equal to 2. 1 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 2. So at 1, what did you guys have? Open or closed circle? Hope you had an open circle. At 2, you should have a closed circle. And then there's not much shading to do, but you would shade in between those 2 lines. Okay. Number 6 is something we haven't seen in a while. You have an absolute value equation, but before you can even deal with that, you have to move that 1/2. Right now, what's going on between the negative 1/2 and the absolute value? What's going on there? I hope you recognize that that's multiplication. How do you undo all multiplication? You have to divide by a negative 1/2. Oops, negative 1/2. So how do you divide by a fraction? You should be multiplying by the reciprocal. Negative 2 over 1 times a negative 2 over 1. And so you would be getting a 4 there. So your new equation is the absolute value of 2x plus 4 is equal to negative times the negative makes that a positive, and 2 over 1 times 2 over 1 is 4 over 1, which is just 4. Okay, absolute value. Every time you work with absolute value, you should always have two answers. So you have to split that up, one positive and one negative. 2x plus 4 equals 4, and 2x plus 4 equals negative 4. Subtract your 4, so 2x is equal to 0. Divide by 2, and x is equal to 0. Over here, subtract your 4, so 2x is equal to negative 8. Divide by your 2, and x is equal to negative 4. So you have two answers. You have 0 and negative 4. Again, we've seen absolute value a couple of times on bellwork. It's been a while. Challenge SAT problem. We have not done one of these in a very long time. Maybe we haven't. I don't know if we have. So anyways, just a challenge, just a prep work for you. You guys are just coming off of taking the PSAT last week, so this again is just a good review for you guys to have about what is right and what is wrong and how these questions are going to look. So here's the first one. It says, which of the following cannot be formed by any combination of 2 pennies, 3 nickels, 1 dime, and 2 quarters? Okay, I think, and you can argue with me, but I think the key to this problem right here is the 2 pennies thing. Everything else is going to be 5, so if we have nickels, we're going to end on a 5, or quarters, we're going to end on a 5, and so you can go 5, 6, 7 with your pennies, so you can go up to a 7. If you end on a 0, you can go up 2 from that, so you can have, let's see, so you could have 1, 2. So you could have things that end in 0, and then you could add a penny to it, or 2 pennies to it. You could have something that ends in 5, and then you could add a penny to it, or 2 pennies to it. So 0, 1, 2, and then 5, 6, and 7. Those are the ending values that you could have, if that makes sense. So is there any way to get 3 cents if you only have 2 pennies? No. How about 54 cents? Well, let's talk about that. Can you get 54 cents? You can get 50 cents, but can you get that 54? No. So you can't get 3, you can't get 54. Can you get 56? Well, that's doable. You'd have 2 quarters, right? So that's 50. Then you could have 1 nickel, which is 55, and then you could have 1 penny, and you would get 56, so that's doable. 75 cents, let's see, can we do that? So we can do 2 quarters, right? That's at 50. We could do 1 dime, because that's all the dimes we have, so now we're at 60. And then if we do the 3 nickels, are we at 75? Sure enough, we are. 78. Well, okay, 75, we used 2 quarters, 1 dime, 3 nickels. So we used everything we had except for the pennies. When we add the pennies in, if we were at 75, 76, 77 is what we get. Can we get to that 78? And that's no. So those 3 you cannot get. All right, well, that is the work for your bell work. We're done with that. I hope you did well on it. You can go ahead and put that away and find your notes, and I'll be back in a minute.